Are you someone trying to buy a home in today's market and you're really finding it tough because of how competitive the market is? You're having to write multiple offers, in some situations, having to go above and beyond the asking price, and you're still not getting your offer accepted? Well, in today's video, we're going to discuss something that I use as a real estate agent to help my clients' offers stand out amongst the competition. What's up, everyone? David Cherry here, realtor covering all of Rhode Island and Southern Mass. And my channel, if you've been following me for a little while, is all about real estate, helping buyers, helping sellers navigate the world of real estate. Okay? If you find value in my content, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all video content like this. Okay, if you've never heard of an escalation clause, you're in the right place. And if you're already familiar with it, then just hang out with me because I'm going to share a few important do's and don'ts around using them. So let's start simple with what an escalation clause is. Simply put, it's an addendum that's submitted in a multiple offer situation that significantly improves your chances of winning the house. Now, let me share an example with you, and I'm going to use some numbers, so try to hang with me. I'll probably put some numbers here in the video in the corner just to make it a little bit easier. So let's say a buyer's planning to offer $400,000 on a house, but the listing agent says there are other competing offers on the table. Instead of the buyer just shooting in the dark and throwing their highest and best offer out there, hoping that it's enough or wondering if it's too high, they can choose to put in what's called an escalation clause that would increase their offer in intervals. Okay, so let's say for this example, they're planning to offer $400,000 and their intervals are $2,500 up to a maximum amount of $410,000. So if the other offer came in at $402,000, the buyers would automatically bump up their offer by $2,500 more than the $402,000. This would make their full offer at $404,500. Or if the other offer was $409,000, the buyers would still increase their offer, but it would only go up to the cap of $410,000. If the other offer was over $410,000, it should go without saying that the max offer would stay at $410,000 because that's what they capped their offer at on the contract. This allows buyers to be aggressive in their offer without significant risk of overpaying for the house. Now, this doesn't guarantee that they're going to win the offer because there are several factors that can play into offers, such as closing date, inspection terms, the type of financing and loan, seller paid closing costs, and any other contingencies that may be in the contract. Now that we know what an escalation clause is, let's review some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to including one in your offer. Tip number one, make sure that your intervals are large enough to make a difference in the offer. When I first started using these, I remember losing to another offer that also put in an escalation clause, and it was only because our interval wasn't high enough. It was only $1,000. And so it wasn't significant enough to make a difference. Today, I have clients that go as high as $5,000, $7,500 in some cases to differentiate themselves in this competitive market. So it's super important to make the interval appropriate for the value of the house. If you have a house that's worth $400,000 and you only have a $1,000 interval built into your escalation clause, that might not be enough for the seller to warrant going with your offer, which leads me to my next tip. Tip number two is instead of using common numbers in your interval, go and use an odd number or go a few $100s more than what you were really intending on. So, for example, if you're comfortable with doing a $2,500 interval, which means beating the next highest offer by $2,500, maybe do $2,711 instead, right? That could be the difference because people like using nice round even numbers, 1,000, 2,000, 2,500, but buyers don't think like of numbers 1764 or 2758, right? If it really comes down to what the seller's going to put in their pocket, it could be just the thing to get your offer across the finish line. Tip number three, always require proof of the other competing offer. Trust me, there's nothing worse besides losing out on the house than the feeling that you overpaid on the house. It can be so distasteful that I've seen deals fall apart because the buyer or the seller felt that they were being taken advantage of on the transaction. So there's a side note to that here. So as a real estate agent, I either represent a seller or a buyer in a transaction, but I work for the deal. The deal is when both the buyer and the seller are excited about the transaction and neither feel that they got taken advantage of or the short end of the stick. And it's totally possible, even as I share, these tips and tricks on using escalation clauses right now. Ultimately, we're setting clear expectations and removing uncertainties by using an escalation clause and should in no way cause any hard feelings between a buyer and a seller. And there you have it, a tool that you can use and include with your offers to be aggressive and competitive in multiple offer situations without the fear of overpaying for the home.